They say number 13 is unlucky, but not for SCW, folks. Welcome to episode 13 of the Stache Club Wrestling Podcast. My name is John.
My name is Dante.
What a week. Dante, how are you?
John, I am doing great. It is a nice Thursday morning after the cold weather that we've had the last few days. It is 50s outside, kind of nice. And I know you haven't been outside.
Yeah, I haven't been outside
today,
in like a week.
It's a very nice day outside today. And I'm ready to talk about some wrestling. A lot of stuff happened this past week. But John, before we get into it, how are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Big Thursdays are our busy day. A lot of editing, a lot of filming, a lot of recording. But yeah, spoilers, it's going to be another Bloodline episode.
There's a lot to talk about. Hey, there's a lot to talk about. Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Paul Heyman. A lot of interesting developments into the story leading up to WrestleMania and Elimination Chamber. So I'm very excited to get into that.
Before we get into that, if you guys could hit subscribe, turn on bell for notifications. All of our quizzes, our premieres. Consider becoming a member of the channel. You get a bunch of exclusive badges and emojis that you can use on the channel. What else? There's another thing. Oh, if you're an audio-only person, which I always forget to say this, we have the audio-only version on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. But if you're watching, we're happy to have you here. Yes, I keep forgetting about it, but I wanted to get the Pitch Black Mountain Dew. I wanted to find that.
We did talk about
just to try it. I think I'm kind of over it at this point.
No, we definitely have to do that. Whether it's one of the live streams or an episode, we're definitely gonna have to try it. I mean, Cody Rhodes says it's fantastic, so I mean, he wouldn't lie to us.
Yeah, well, he said, I gotta be honest with you. It's fantastic. It's so fucking
one of my
funny.
favorite lines this year.
All right. Let's start all the way back 6 days ago. The Friday Night SmackDown. I want to skip everything else for now. We can go back to other stuff, but Roman Reigns
addresses the state of the bloodline.
Leading up to it, he was backstage, and you got a lot of like the gaslighting and manipulating of Jimmy and Solo. Yeah. Hey, where's Jay? Blah blah blah. He said, "Go to catering and eat. I'll handle this." Gets out there, cuts a promo. Long story short, someone in a hood in a sweatshirt comes out, attacks Roman.
Who could it be?
I mean, hey. Sami Zayn might have the best spear in the business.
Bro, I'll be honest with you. He fucking nailed that shit.
He might have the best spear in the business.
That was a great spear that he hit on Roman Reigns.
You should think about taking it.
Honestly, we might. I think we might see it again in the future. Yeah, I think just the entire
how fucking crazy was
the
that?
Entire build up to it. Like
God.
You were talking about the gaslighting with Solo and Jimmy and all that stuff. It's like, have you talked to your brother? And there's some hesitation. Like Jimmy's saying, like, I haven't talked to him and stuff, but it makes you think: is he lying to Roman? Is he actually talked to him? Whatever. Solo obviously just stays silent throughout the whole thing, and then brings him back, and he's apologizing. I've had so much on my shoulders, this and that. For him to go out, give the state of the union of the bloodline, and Sami Zayn comes out and attacks him to a massive pop. Like, I think we've been talking about how this whole natural build is similar to Daniel Bryan and stuff like that back when it was like 2014, 2015. I don't think it's at that level, but let me tell you, Sami Zayn, I don't think so. So one reason why I think that too is because he had like the yes chant and stuff like that. That's such an easy chant to like get along with stuff. Like when he was doing that, the entire crowd was
fucking
like,
crazy.
Right? So I don't think Sami has that. I think it's very similar, but I think Daniel Bryan just separated himself a tiny bit more. But regardless, I'm not here to compare them. But it just, I love just the natural progression of like a year ago today. He's in a storyline with Jackass, like Johnny Knoxville, which granted was great.
Yeah,
it was good.
It was one of the better matches.
It was very entertaining. But it's just like to go from doing this a year ago to now you're involved in the biggest story, not in WWE, but in just professional wrestling.
Right.
And you're now a week away from being in the biggest match of your life in your hometown. And at the end of the whole thing, too, going back to the segment, Roman Reigns like attacks him and stuff, and he goes, you know what? I want to give you the match.
He's like screaming at him in the corner. I'm going to break you in your hometown.
In front of your friends, in front of you broke my family. I'm going to break in front of yours. And one other thing I want to point out that Roman Reigns does very well that no one else does it. Roman Reigns cutting promos without the mic. because like when he's talking like in the corner, like there's no mic, like it's not into the mic, not everyone can hear it, but it's like that's what makes it personal and makes it more like, oh shit, like
it takes out like the showmanship of it, and it's just
it takes away the sports entertainment to kind of like, you know, it's obviously not real, but it's like you're kind of blurring the lines.
At that point, he's just legit screaming. It doesn't matter if he has a mic in his phone; he's just screaming
like in his face. And Sammy looks terrified because then Roman walks away, he's holding up the belts, and Sammy's just like laying there, like fuck. Like
I thought that was. I think one of my biggest things, like. Maybe I'm just forgetting, but it feels like it's been so long since we've had wrestling TV shows like this. Like, for a while, a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown would end or whatever, and there'd be no, like, surprise or no, like, wow, that was a good segment. It'd just be like, oh, well, that was a show.
Yeah.
It feels good for WWE to get back in that almost like taking a risk or just doing something that's going to be talked about.
Right.
Like when that like when Sami slid in that ring and speared Roman Reigns, that felt like the ending to a pay-per-view. That felt very similar to the ending of the Royal Rumble, where it's this big whoa thing, and it's like, I don't know, it just felt really nice and refreshing for an episode of Friday Night SmackDown to have a huge, they always progress the story, but to have a huge like pay-per-view level
development in the story,
right? Felt really, really nice. I think that's also bled over into Raw, and also like at this point, WrestleMania is getting so close that they fucking need to have these episodes like
especially
really good.
Elimination Chamber is a week from Saturday.
Wow, Jesus, that came up fast.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
So I give them credit. It's very hard to build a show in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So obviously you plan ahead, like you know what you're going to do, but to put it all together, and then right after that ends, you got to focus on a month from now, WrestleMania. Yeah, you got to speed some stuff up. Well, we don't have to get into the Raw thing yet, but I was going to say, because it kind of segues into what happened on Raw. But I think this was a good... I think it answered the question of what's happening next with Sami Zayn, because we didn't really know, okay, is this match happening at Elimination Chamber? Is it happening at WrestleMania?
Like, we're getting Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns.
We're getting it
insane
in his hometown too, which I think, listen, would I have liked the whole, I still want Roman to split the belts. I still love the idea of him defending one on one night, one on the other, because one, I think it makes him look good. Cody Rhodes gets a title and Roman still walks out with a championship. I like that idea, but I think Sami Zayn challenging for the belt in Quebec is a better move than at WrestleMania. Again, like the whole...
If it was anywhere but his hometown.
Exactly. If it wasn't in Quebec...
It just, the pieces just fell together.
If it was in Nashville, Tennessee, I'd say wait till WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But like, this is perfect. Like,
it's
just aligned perfectly. You have to do it here.
I mean, like... Roman's gonna get booed out of the
that's
building.
What I'm saying. Remember, I'm imagining like when he makes his entrance throughout the match. I'm gonna imagine when when John Cena faced Rob Van Dam in that ECW one night, saying everyone was just
shit
anti-Cena that night. Crazy. It's gonna be like that, and then that's why too. I think it's great because you get this match out of the way. Sami gets his big match. This is gonna be the biggest match of Sami Zayn's career. Win or lose, it's gonna be his biggest match in his hometown. And Roman, going into WrestleMania, is going to look like the biggest heel. Like, he needs, like, everyone loves Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns is a heel, but we talked about this before in wrestling. People cheer heels, boo faces, and stuff like that. Roman needs to get back on that level where he is legitimately hated.
I think he's like
after the Royal Rumble,
especially after the Royal Rumble,
they get in there.
And that's been I think Sami's played an integral part of this whole story, but like, arguably one of the biggest things, like you just said, is getting Roman to become that heel. Because if there was no Sami stuff, then it'd just be like, because people like the bloodline stuff, so like he's getting cheered. If none of this Sami stuff happened, it'd be cheered Roman, cheered Cody, arguably maybe even Cody getting booed at Mania.
Fair.
But because of Sami, Cody's gonna get the biggest fucking
exactly. And I think and Roman's always been a heel, but I think what you said, like, everyone likes the bloodline, because people like the story, they're gonna cheer for the story. And Roman's kind of been like that middleman where he's like, he's a bad guy, but he's also like, he's bringing Sami Zayn into his family. Like, that's not something a bad guy does. You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of like, he's in the middle ground. Like, he's good and bad. Before
the Rumble, the Bloodline and Roman would come out and they'd get cheered.
I think they were borderline. I was in my head thinking, oh, they're gonna start turning this guy face now. Like, is he gonna go back to being a good guy, right? But yeah, after the Royal Rumble, you're getting back to him being the legit heel. And after the Elimination Chamber, especially if I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be a lot of close, like Sami Zayn.
Well, I was going to ask, what do you think is going to happen in the Chamber?
Roman's going to win.
Yeah,
Roman's gonna win.
Yeah, it would be so funny if Sami Zayn wins and faces Cody at Mania.
It would honestly be one of the most it probably would be the most shocking moment in wrestling history. I say that because of the historic reign and just like, again, everyone loves Sami Zayn.
This WrestleMania has been built around Roman for a year.
What I'm saying.
It's like, and then all of a sudden they just take him out of the main event.
If we're watching Elimination Chamber and Sami Zayn pins him 1, 2, 3. My jaw would drop like at the Royal Rumble, but I don't think I'd be able to I wouldn't be able to back up. I wouldn't be able to detach, put it back in my body. I think Roman's gonna win. I think it's gonna be a great match.
Sure, there's gonna be some Kevin interferences.
You know? So there's also. I was thinking like Uso interferences and stuff. This could be when Jay does this thing. Yeah. I don't know if you've heard this. This isn't like a spoiler or anything like that. So the Usos, due to past legal troubles, they might not be able to make it into Canada for the Elimination Chamber. Both of them. But they have made exceptions in the past. I think Jay is more in the clear than Jimmy because Jimmy has more of like the DUI and stuff like that. So in the past, they've made deals or whatever. It's like, okay, let them in for one night. Do this.
Yeah.
So it could
on like a work visa type.
It could simply just be like that. But that can make things a little interesting.
I did see that. I forgot
because
about that.
In my head, I'm thinking how the match is going to finish. Jey Uso comes out thinking he's going to help Sami, turns on Sami, helps Roman. But like if Jey isn't there, can't do that. Whatever they do, Roman needs to look dominant at the end because that's how you're going to get the heel heat. You need to screw over Sami somehow, either beat the shit out of him or cheat to win. You walk out of there the biggest heel in the company.
I think we'll get a really fun Sami run in it, and so it's like, oh my god, Sami's actually gonna win. Like, I think we'll get that, but you're right. Whether it's
type of
whether it's shenanigans or whether it's just straight up. I hope it's not just a squash. I'd be real disappointed if it's just
they shouldn't do that. If it is a squash, I think that might lead into another match at WrestleMania. I don't think if you've built this entire thing up,
but they still need to have time for The Rock.
So hey, maybe at the end
we gotta give up on it. We gotta give up on it.
We have one more event. We have one more pay-per-view before the WrestleMania. What could happen is
Rock
Roman
hates
wins.
Canada.
He hangs. Rock notoriously hates Canada. Roman holds up the belt. Rock comes out.
It's not going to happen.
It's less than a 1% chance, but it's still there. But no, that's not going to happen. But I think whatever happens, whether it's cheating to win, dominance, whatever, Roman Reigns is walking out of Elimination Chamber as the clear, dominant, undisputed champion.
Yeah,
that's why I'd love to see Sami Zayn win.
I
would love it, but
I think the match is going to be way more fun for the story.
Yes,
because it's just like it is. I think it is another one of those matches where you're like, oh, I hate matches where you obviously know who the winner is. But I think this story is so ingrained in it that arguably the winner or the match itself doesn't even matter. It's more about the storytelling happening in it that's to advance, you know. Even though if we all know who's going to win,
and listen,
there's so much more to it.
You're talking about people saying oh, we know who's going to win, blah, 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 blah. People have been asking for this match. This is what people have been asking for. WWE didn't have to give this to us. You know what I mean? So it's just be grateful that we got to the point in the storyline. Also, who knows that Sami Zayn wasn't even supposed to be involved in all of this. 6 months ago, who thought that he would have been competing? So it's this is just kind of fell into WWE's lap.
I would be willing to bet. Obviously, we don't know, but I would be willing to bet that Sami versus Roman in the chamber at Elimination Chamber was never in the cards.
No,
there's no shot.
No, just like Daniel Bryan wasn't meant to main event WrestleMania at WrestleMania 30. Going back to that comparison, but because of how phenomenal the story was and how much he won the fans over, that led to hit these guys and get in their the shot that they deserve. So again, I think Roman's gonna win. I'm very confident he's gonna win, but I'm still gonna enjoy the match. It's gonna be one of those matches with near falls. People are gonna be like, oh my gosh, he's actually gonna do this. And
when I'm watching pay-per-views and I'm fully in it, I mean, I'm always fully in it as a fan, but when I'm watching pay-per-views and you're fully in it as a fan, you're not thinking about a podcast you're doing, you're not thinking about whatever. I'm 100% just suspending disbelief. I'm rooting for Sami.
Yeah,
if he's
100%.
He's gonna get that near fall, and I'm like, oh, that was so fucking close.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be believing it, and I'm gonna let myself believe it.
And you like the near falls. Roman is the best in the business when it comes to that. Sami Zayn, from the match when they were defending the Raw Tag Team Championships, and he had like 3 near falls, and he kept kicking out. It's gonna be so suspenseful. It's gonna be very
You're never gonna know when it ends.
It's gonna be a great match, but an even better storytelling match, because again, this is gonna bleed into WrestleMania. It's gonna be the continuation of a lot of big part of the story. I'm very excited for it. But that's a few weeks from now. We'll end up talking more about that.
We'll circle back to the Bloodline when we get to Raw. But some other quick SmackDown notes, which, I mean, none of it, it's so funny how, like, here's maybe a problem. This story is arguably one of the best stories, if not the best story in the past decade or two, right? WWE has no other story.
Yeah.
Like nothing else.
Yeah, it's like they have all their guys focused on this.
Right, which is like, it's an incredible story, but like there's no mid-card story. At least like back in the day, there'd be the world title story, but then there's this other offshoot story. Like AEW has like different, like, we'll have like a main event story, and then there's other little stuff here. It's like, it seems like, which I get it, if you're focusing all your energy, and you might need to, on the greatest story of the past 2 decades, I get it, but it leaves a lot to be desired for the rest of the show.
I agree with
like
that.
We're gonna go through like the rest of the show and just like how just head over, or I don't know what the saying is, far and beyond the Bloodline story is from everything else going on.
I think too, like I think it's a bad thing that you don't have like these other programs getting the proper storytelling, the attention that they deserve. But I also think it speaks volumes to how good the Bloodline story is. Where it's like, that's like, we're talking about it like it's something that we're picking up on, but it's not like
it doesn't ruin the show. It doesn't ruin the show.
100% exactly. Not. So I think that speaks volumes. But you're right. I was actually
like, even like the Brock versus Bobby thing. It's like Brock and Bobby are gonna have like a crazy match at Mania,
right? But
and the storyline has just been like, Brock runs in, beats him up. Bobby is mad that he got beat up. It's like, what's there?
It's a cycle. It's a cycle. You could do more with that. I agree. I was actually thinking that when we were talking about the Bloodline a little bit earlier. I wonder if, like, once this Bloodline storyline kind of not comes to an end at WrestleMania, but kind of, I guess, dies down. Like, once the belts come off Roman.
I mean, like, I don't. It's like, it's not gonna, this WrestleMania. Maybe not the storybook ending, but it's gotta be like the beginning of the third act here. You know what I mean?
I think Royal Rumble was the peak of the Bloodline storyline. Personally, I think at least near the peak of it.
Yeah, because that
I'm not
was like,
saying it's gonna go there and just immediately drop off.
Because that was the moment.
It was the moment.
I mean,
this could be halfway through. We might have another 2 years left. We don't know. We don't know.
And whatever happens at Mania could talk.
You know how many family members they have?
They got a lot.
By the end of this year, there could be 10 people in the Bloodline. So who knows? It might not be the peak. But I'm just saying, like, at WrestleMania, when Roman loses his belts, the story's going to change, because it goes from protecting Roman, being Island of Relevancy, untouchable champ, to now he has no belts and it's just the Bloodline, right? And then Cody, let's just say Cody wins it. Let's also assume they split up the belts. I think that's what they should do. I think that's what they plan on doing. Then you got to focus on 2 different world champions, because that whole story thing, now you're not focusing on one big champion. You got to put your energy towards Cody Rhodes, someone else's champion, or whatever it may be. So I'm hoping that after WrestleMania is when they start be like, okay, we can take a little bit less focus on this and start putting it in different places.
And it's almost like, I definitely don't want to be negative about it, because I love the story.
But
I think it's
fair criticism.
I think it's like, it's almost like a double-edged sword, where it's like they have the greatest storyline in 2 decades. Once it's over, it's not like the next one is also going to be the great, like they're gonna go through, right?
You can't top that.
They're gonna go through a lull when this storyline's over, or when this storyline, like you were saying, is not at its peak anymore, and it's still like there, like after Mania, whatever.
Because when let's say Roman loses at Mania, he might take like 6 months off. He genuinely, like, he really, we might not see him until SummerSlam or something like that. So it's, you know, they got to put their attention elsewhere. Hey, who knows? Maybe they do have the next greatest storyline in their back pocket. I don't know, but it's gonna be. You're right. I think fans are gonna we're not taking this storyline for granted, but we're gonna see once it kind of comes to an end or kind of dies down. We're gonna see like, wow, that really was like that must-see thing on television, you know? So I'll be interesting to see what they do following
Speaking of must-see television, Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Defeat Imperium to earn a shot at the SmackDown tag titles.
I saw your tweet about this, about Imperium losing. About how like they shouldn't have been presented as like losing to this team or something like that, or they should have won.
Yeah, I think I would have just preferred, which I get it. I was like, obviously Braun and Ricochet are more just the bait to whatever's going to happen with the Usos,
right.
if Jay shows up and I don't know. I'm just not super invested in the tag tournament.
I'm not either. I think I am. I shouldn't say I'm happy. I think it's smart that Imperium didn't win this, only because it's like they're not beating the Usos, and I think Imperium needs to be protected. They lost to Braun and Ricochet, but I mean protected in the sense of like when they finally get that tag team championship opportunity, they should win it.
Right.
Like it shouldn't be like they shouldn't be just fed to the Usos to be a part of the Bloodline storyline. They're too good for that.
Is this match, the title match, happening
I think it's
tomorrow?
I was gonna say this week, tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So
so I think like at the very least we'll see, because like the whole thing now is even Roman said it. Oh, you guys have a title match, and you better hope your brother shows up. So like I think that's going to be the biggest thing on is who shows up, or if they make. Oh no, never mind. I keep forgetting where I'm at in the story. So like, what if they make Sammy? No, that doesn't make sense.
No, I mean, so I think if Jay doesn't show up, which I don't think he is, Solo and Jimmy.
Yeah, depending. Right? Yeah, they'll probably just play more on the free.
Unless it's just Jimmy and he loses the belts, which I think would be stupid, but. Because they shouldn't lose.
I wouldn't mind them starting to like break down
if
the belts.
If it was for one of the... This is for both of the belts.
No, it's just for the SmackDown. Is
it just SmackDown?
I think it's just SmackDown.
Oh, okay. I thought it was,
split them up.
I mean, I thought it was for unified belts. So if it's
I'll double check.
You're probably right. If it was for the unified belts, I'd say no. Fuck not. Like, you're losing those at WrestleMania. But if it is for only one of them, I think that wouldn't... I'd be fine.
Yeah,
that. And then you can do the whole Imperium beating Braun and Ricochet.
Sure, and then it makes Roman more pissed at it makes Roman more pissed at Jay and Jimmy, and that adds more cracks of frustration.
Okay. I think I can get behind that. I thought it was okay. No, that makes more sense. If it's just for the SmackDown belts, 100%, I'm down for that.
I'm gonna double check so we don't get yelled at. But no, I think, and that's kind of what I mean. Is because I kind of see the Usos losing them. And it's funny to see, like, okay, it's going to be to
titles. Okay.
Is it? Okay, word.
Interesting.
And yeah, so it's going to be like, if I would rather Imperium take them off Usos, because if I think the Usos are going to win, because what is this Braun Ricochet team?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
People are comparing it to like Team Little Big, and I don't know. It's like, it's fine. I mean, I like Ricochet.
You got your typical big guy and high flyer combo. Yeah, now that I'm thinking, all right, so my whole opinion is kind of changing right now.
Yeah.
Because I thought, again, it was for unified belts. If it's for just the SmackDown Imperium,
I say lose them. I said
that they were going to lose the Raw tag team belts to Judgment Day a few weeks ago. So that
would have made way more sense.
That would have made way more sense. It would make more sense if Imperium beat the Usos. But regardless, sure, if it's just for those belts, fuck it. I
say lose them.
So you have to start putting the cracks in at some point. I mean, there already are cracks, but this is a big one. Yeah, absolutely. So shout out Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Hopefully you get some tag team belts. Doesn't make sense, but I hope you get them.
Natalya defeats Shotzi, Shayna Baszler, and Zelina. Let me read that trio again. Natalya, the boat.
Yeah, the boat, of course.
Defeats Shotzi Blackheart. Former MMA champion? I don't know. Maybe.
Shayna Baszler?
Yeah. Was she ever like an MMA champion?
I don't know if she was a champion, but
whatever.
She was MMA.
Former MMA. Ronda Rousey's right-hand gal, Shayna Baszler, and Zelina Vega, who I think is great in the ring. Good for Natalya. She deserves it.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
She
does not.
Don't care about, I don't know.
It's like, I'm looking.
Any
of those women would be more believable in the chamber to... You know what I mean? Get a shot at the title.
I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to shit on anyone, but I just don't like Natalya. I've never been a
No, I'm also not a fan.
I think she's just kind of like, I don't want to say overrated, but like it's just the same gimmick. It's just she's been the same for forever. There's nothing fresh or new about the character. She's
not talented in the ring.
She's done nothing to sell me.
Yeah.
The only thing that like makes me care about her in the slightest is that she's from the Hart family, and I wish they did something with that more. But like I feel like they could do something with that where it's like she's from a family of I mean, I'm not wrestling royalty. I mean, the Harts are one of the biggest names in wrestling for, family names. It's like, they can do something with that where it's like, I come from a generation of the best wrestlers.
I think
like,
they've done it. I think they've tried.
Well,
At this point,
bring
I
it
do
back.
not
I don't
give a
know what
shit.
they're doing with her now.
I think they should fire her.
I would have liked Shayna Baszler to have won this match. I think that Shayna Baszler is like, still
Shayna
has
Baszler
that.
absolutely should have won this.
Like, people remember her from NXT. She was NXT champ for like almost a year or something like that. Like, she was dominant in NXT. I wish Triple H would bring that back. Because Natalya, she's not believable. She's not going to win the Chamber. I think the only believable person right now to win that match is Asuka. I think Liv Morgan can win, but I think just
I want to see the final two, Liv and Asuka.
Right.
Hopefully
the two women that came in second and third in the Rumble. Too.
Hopefully they Liv deserves something at Mania.
I agree.
After all this work at the Rumble, and then seeing how she's probably going to put in some work at the Chamber, she needs something.
Because at that point, it's like, if she's not for one of those belts, what match would she be in? If they have like a battle royal, which is stupid.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
That's stupid.
I'm thinking
women's tag team belts, but probably not.
Oh yeah, like who the fuck? That's another thing. Who the fuck are like in contention for the women's tag titles?
I bet you what they'll do for that match, because I feel like they do this every WrestleMania or every big event, is just do like a fatal 4-way tag team match.
Yeah, just like whoever the fuck.
Just throw it. That's usually what they do. I can imagine that happening.
We spent way too much time on SmackDown. Let's go to Raw.
Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn was really the only thing we had to talk about. There.
All right. I mean, like, we can let's same thing we did with SmackDown. We'll start with the big thing, the obvious thing we all want to talk about. I'm not gonna jump around to other stuff. Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes promo. Oh my goodness! Whoa!
I have always known. We have always known how great Paul Heyman is.
Yeah,
he is
the greatest.
The GOAT.
Greatest talker.
He can get. I mean, Cody Rhodes is great as well, but man, he brings out the best in everybody that he interacts with. This guy is,
and I think the biggest Roman wasn't even part of this promo, and this is like probably this was the best promo leading into a Mania.
And this
match.
is the first promo that they had. You can just tell at the way that it ended. The next, all these other ones that they're gonna have, the back and forth is gonna get personal. It is gonna get deep. This match is going to mean a lot. Like, it's not this.
And it finally has a story.
Bro,
it finally has something.
We're gonna get an excellent wrestling match, but the story that is gonna be told leading up to it and through that match is gonna be. I think that this could be one of the best WrestleMania main events at the end of it. I think it might go down.
I'm down to be optimistic with you.
I think it might go. If the match is really good and they properly build it up, and we've said it with this storyline at this point, I expect nothing but excellence. I think they've just done such a superb job with this. I think that this main event is going to be special. And especially if Cody wins, just the whole meaning behind it,
that'd be crazy.
Forget about it. I don't think you can write something better than that.
Let me read some of the notes from the promos. A lot of Cody connected with Paul Heyman through his father, Dusty Rhodes. Cody even said, "Oh, I respect you, and that's why I call you Mr. Heyman." And Cody was talking about there's a time where his family was going through some tough times. Paul Heyman gave Dusty Rhodes a shot at ECW, basically saved his family from poverty and all this stuff. So first of all, that really emotional, and like at that point, I mean, Cody tears up at every mention, rightfully so. Tears up at every mention of his father, but I mean, you can tell. I mean, like it sounds obvious, but you can tell how much he like fucking loves his dad. And then Paul Heyman too. Because I never knew the connection between Paul Heyman and Dusty Rhodes. So learning that and seeing like, oh, like this goes even past Roman. This is now like, this isn't just Cody versus Roman. This is Cody versus Roman and Paul.
Yeah.
So seeing that connection was huge. I didn't know about all the ECW stuff. Paul Heyman expressed to Cody how much he again, tears in Paul Heyman's eyes. And like Paul Heyman's crying at this point. Expressing Cody, I loved your father, and I'll never be able to express how much I loved your father, blah, blah. They're both getting very emotional. But then it takes a little bit of a turn.
Yes.
Paul Heyman says, your father trained the likes of Seth Rollins. I think he said Becky Lynch.
Yep.
And he said, your father trained Roman Reigns. Dusty Rhodes trained Roman Reigns. That's... whether it's true or not, it's probably.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's probably not a crazy amount of truth to it, but just a mention
Your
of it.
father trained Roman Reigns. And then he goes on to say, but he didn't get a chance to train you. Cody Rhodes' dad trained Roman Reigns, but didn't train Cody. And Cody is fighting for his dad. And then he says, before he passed, Dusty said that you are his favorite son, which is already so fucking
He
funny.
said that, and I was like, wait a minute.
Like, so-
what about Goldust?
So fuck Dustin, I guess. He's just like, what the fuck?
And Lana, I guess.
Yeah, like he has other kids.
Yeah.
But he said, Cody, you were his favorite son, but Roman is the son that Dusty always wanted. Holy shit.
Again.
And then Cody, the last note, Cody says, gets in his face and like whatever he says, which I thought this was an underrated line.
This was great.
He said, I'm just trying to win a wrestling championship and everyone keeps making it personal. So now it's personal. Just no misses. Arguably one of the best like 1v1 promos,
Bro,
of all
my
time. I'll
God.
say it. Holy shit.
No, it was fucking perfect. And like you said, Dusty Rhodes, he was with NXT and stuff like that. He definitely did have his hand in training guys like Rollins, Becky Lynch, Roman Reigns and stuff. Was he like Roman Reigns is like his personal trainer, the guy that
Like
he
the
worked
fucking
with?
What's Karate Kid? Who trained the
Jackie
Karate Kid?
Chan? Or-
Well,
no, wait. Is that it? I don't know.
no. Well, yes.
I don't know.
but no.
I've never seen Karate Kid.
I guess I was thinking of the character's name, but it doesn't matter.
well.
Who trained the Karate
Isn't
Kid?
Jaden Smith
Jackie.
in Karate Kid?
Well, that's the new one. There was like other Karate Kids.
I've never seen Karate Kid.
Anyway, who trained the Karate Kid? Jackie Chan. That was crazy. Okay, but yeah, it doesn't see there probably wasn't a whole lot of like Master Splinter type.
And,
you know
and
what I mean?
like Paul Heyman saying like Roman, what like he said like you're his favorite son, but Roman.
I don't know.
He didn't
I
say
don't
that.
know if Dusty said
definitely
that,
didn't on
man.
his deathbed. I don't think so. I don't think few of the last words that came out of Dusty Rhodes' mouth was "I wish Roman Reigns was my son." Back in 2013 when he wasn't even like on the main roster or anything like that. I don't think that was the case. But
I've always wanted a Samoan son.
What was his name in NXT? Like before FCW was like Levy or something.
It was like his real, like it was like something Letty. Wasn't it just Joseph Letty or like something like that?
Weird,
yeah,
but it's like before he was even Roman, he wanted his son. No, but I like besides the whole like not sure if that's true. I just love how those lines, whether true or not, make it personal. Yeah, and it's like we're not really supposed to look past. Like again, like we're watching the product, we're here to enjoy it. We're not here to like be nitpicky. Like that line alone, that made this match like feel personal. Like it went from being like Cody said, just a match for a wrestling belt to okay, now this is the Rhodes family versus Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. Like Cody Rhodes is doing this for his family at this point.
Yeah.
So
I think this, and obviously like, you know, this is their one of their first opportunities to start building a story. So it might sound like I'm criticizing. Oh, finally, I don't mean like, oh, finally there's a story to it, because like they're doing it appropriately. Right. But it is nice to see that something is developed and something as this deep as like, and I think one of the biggest criticisms was, like I saw something on Twitter where like someone was like, can Cody ever have a feud or a match without involving his dad? It's like his the biggest part of his legacy is being a part of like the Rhodes family, and his whole story is living up to his expectations and his dad's expectations and his promises to his father. Why wouldn't you want that ingrained in the whole thing?
And to kind of like go against that, you have instances where it's like Charlotte Flair. You can't mention Charlotte. Ric Flair always comes up. And also, I mean, not as much, but Roman Reigns, the bloodline. The whole point of the bloodline is Roman Reigns representing his family and his lineage and like his his grandparents and his parents. And stuff.
It's weird to criticize a wrestling storyline where wrestling is built on families and past generations.
Yeah, exactly.
And then to be like, well, they're bringing up past generations too much. That's what wrestling has been for
that's what it's
40
been.
years.
If it gets to the
years.
point where it's like you're going in circles and you're kind of just repeating things and like telling the same story over it, sure. But like, I don't think it's ever gone to the point where I was like, oh, I'm sick of them talking about Dusty or something.
Right.
Like that. No, like every time that they've mentioned it, brought up whatever, like it makes sense. It makes sense. So I have no criticism towards it. I think I also want to point out, I loved how they didn't make it. Obviously, they're making it about Cody and Roman, but at the beginning, Cody was like, Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns are fighting. And he goes, I have a lot of respect for my friend Sami. Like, may the best man win. I might face Sami at WrestleMania. Put
Sami over.
So it's like, they're not discrediting that. They're not discrediting the whole fact that, Cody knows Roman's going to beat him, so he's just kind of like ignoring that. Like, they're recognizing it. And he's pointing out that, hey, Roman might not be the guy that I face. I like that.
Yeah, no, I also thought that was great. Ultimately, that was the best part. Well, that was another exciting part of Raw, but it goes back to what we say, and it's not it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, but everything just gets so overshadowed. I'm surprised this didn't. Well, I guess in retrospect, I get why I didn't close the show, but enough foreshadowing. Moving on to. We got Becky versus Bayley. They finally get the steel cage match they were never promised.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks late, 3 weeks late.
Match was fine. Damage control, shenanigans. Becky and Bayley, great chemistry. They're slamming each other against the cage. Nothing crazy to say about it. But Becky's getting beat up, or just basically 3-on-1 damage control and whatever. And then Lita comes out to make the save for why? Don't know.
I don't know.
Fucking who cares?
Honestly, I don't care.
Who cares?
I'm fine. I love Lita. It's funny because I wrote an article you can find at clutchpoints.com, but it was talking about this was like a few weeks ago, and it was just surprise entrance for the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, why didn't Lita show up in the Rumble?
And I mentioned Lita being one of them because she can still go. I mean, last year she had a little run. She fought Becky Lynch in Saudi Arabia.
Which I saw that was like Lita and Becky have faced before. It's like, well, that's not reason. Like I said, I'm not criticizing. I don't care. I love that she came out, but I was like, that's not a reason for her to save Becky. Like, but like, whatever.
I don't really understand the reasoning for it, but I don't care. I think it's cool.
Hey.
And they're bringing in someone that, obviously this is building up to a match. I'm assuming Lita didn't just come out to...
I mean, what could it be, though? What's Lita going to do?
So I'm thinking... All right, so you got Bayley, you have Damage Control, you got Becky and Lita. So that's 3-2 right now. I do believe that they should do Becky and Bayley again one-on-one at Mania. I think that should be like the the blow-off match. If you're going to... I mean, I think that they're ended up doing like a 3-on-3 match, but the question is who's the third person that they're going to bring in. And then I start to think, so Elimination Chambers in Canada, which is Sami Zayn's hometown or home country, there's another famous women's wrestler also from Canada, and her name is Trish Stratus.
Right.
I don't know why Lita came back. No, I don't know why Lita came back. I don't know why Trish would come back, but that's what I think. I don't know. They're building up Elimination Chamber to be a big event. Roman, Sami, Bobby, Brock.
Trish will probably
the two Elimination Chamber matches, Edge, Finn, Judgment Day stuff.
Do Becky and Billy have anything at the Chamber right now? Like they don't.
No, they didn't announce anything. So this is just a speculation.
Yeah,
I mean, it could just be like they could plan this for WrestleMania. I don't know, but. I think that's if you want to push off the blow off match a little bit longer, this is how you do it.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. No, I have no idea. It doesn't. It makes no sense.
Doing,
it makes no sense. I don't know why these two are back.
I also wouldn't because I like Damage Control and Bayley's also on a roll. I wouldn't love seeing. Lose. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't love seeing the legends just beating up Damage Control for
could you imagine if Bayley pinned like a Trish Stratus or a Lita? I mean, that would be pretty big if she did that.
I would like that better. If Bayley gets the pin on Trish or something. I like
that because Lita and Trish aren't full timers.
Right. Exactly.
Listen, Trish Stratus, they're both Hall of Famers. Right. Trish Stratus eating a pin on February 18th at the Elimination Chamber in Canada ain't gonna ruin her legacy.
Yeah.
And I hope if that's what they do. Obviously, Lita's back. I'm just conspiracizing with Trish.
Lita might never show up again. That could have just been a one-off thing. Who the fuck knows?
If this is what they're going to do, like if they're gonna do this whole Lita Trish match, whatever, I hope that they stick around longer than I hope. WrestleMania is around the corner. Maybe they have a match. Maybe they do something with them.
Oh, he's got it.
Maybe they do a match for the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania. Damage Control versus Trish and Lita. I mean, and then Bayley and Becky could have their one-on-one. That could be something.
I guess.
Right? I mean, again, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Fuck no. But it's chaos, and I like chaos. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, like you said, as much as we're saying it doesn't make sense. Hey, I'm always for the
Lita and Trish are great.
The cheap pop. Well, you keep on involving. We don't know if Trish is. No, they keep on involving Trish.
They're great. She hasn't wrestled in 4 years.
No, I'm saying no. They're both great, but we're saying it as if she's already back in the ring.
Listen, I'm still set on the Rock return. Right, all right, I'm locked in on these returns right now. All right, I never give up hope. But yeah, I think Lita comeback was cool. I'm interested to see what they do with this because it's confusing, but hey, fuck it, why not?
Fuck it. There was some other stuff that happened. We can run through real quick. At the beginning of the show, Bobby. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Judgment Day confronts Edge, or Edge comes out at the beginning of the show, and blah blah blah, and Judgment Day comes out, and it was fine.
Dude, Damian Priest is so boring.
Thank you.
He is so like, it's Finn. Honestly, like I think Finn and Dominic, as far as like just like popularity in the Judgment Day and like work that they do.
Oh, I'd go Rhea above them. I'm going Rhea, Dom, Finn, Damian.
Okay.
If I'm ranked, let's rank them right now.
All right, you go first. So you're doing.
I'm going in terms of, this is overall. So this is in terms of entertainment, in-ring talent, who I want to see. It's mostly who I want to see.
Okay.
Rhea number 1.
Yeah.
2 is Dominic, not because of his in-ring, but his character work. He's so entertaining and funny that it puts him above how boring Finn Balor is right now.
Sure.
And Finn 3, because he's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. Yeah. Obviously, he hasn't been showcased as that in the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or maybe 5 years is a stretch, but you know what I mean. And then people defend Damian, and they're like, he's so talented in the ring. He's nothing special in the ring. He's fine.
I think I do think he's a good wrestler. I mean, like he's not like, listen, you're not in WWE, you're not in a group if you're bad, but I just don't think WWE has done anything to help him. I just think that he's just kind of there. It's just it's someone. Listen, someone gets lost in the shuffle in groups like that. Like let me give my rankings.
Go ahead.
So I was thinking in my head, I was just thinking like ranking like the guys and stuff. But if we're counting like Rhea and all of them, Rhea is number 1 because like she's the talented one. She just won the Royal Rumble. She's going to be the world champion.
And she's also funny.
She's good.
Like Rhea's always her work good. With Dom is really good.
Yeah, so Rhea's always been great. I'm very happy she's finally getting that spotlight, and hopefully she wins the championship. I had Finn and Dom to me are like neck and neck because I think Finn, like he's the leader, he's the better wrestler, he's the guy that you can count on to put on banger matches. But as of right now, Dominic, I think, is like one of the only reasons why people care about the Judgment Day. So for that, I'm going to put Dominic slightly ahead of Finn. Then Finn. We have the same ranking. It's Finn, Damian, because then it's like there's no close. Like Damian's last by a mile.
Yeah,
it's not like I would have to think like I don't know if Finn or Damian's going to be last. Like no, I'm debating who's going to be second to Rhea. I'm not a Damian hater or anything like that.
If at the end of the day I'm nothing else, I'm a Damian Priest hater. I'm a Damian Priest hater. I'm an Natalia hater, and I'm not a Daniel Bryanson fan.
Stand by it.
Daniel Bryanson fan. Bryan Danielson.
Same thing.
Daniel Bryan.
If he goes to another company, that's what his name's going to be. No, I mean, but that's valid. I think Damian Priest just has been like the boring member of the Judgment Day that's just been there. He won the match against Angelo Dawkins to get into the Elimination Chamber, so at least he's got
I think Dawkins should have won.
I think Dawkins should have won. Dawkins should have won, but they're letting him get victories like this. But before last night that his victory, I can't tell you the last time I've seen him like win a one-on-one or just like have a good direction. I'm not a huge fan of his, but everyone else, I mean, Dom when I love when he leaves the ring and Montez Ford's behind him. He's like, I love Montez Ford. And he comes up, he gets hit with the Gland Slam. He goes, Mommy!
He's so funny.
It's
just cartoonish.
Yeah,
and
it's
silly.
So stupid and silly, but it works, and it's so funny. I'm very happy. And thing too with Dominic is he's so like he's cocky, and he's like I'm the modern day Eddie Guerrero and stuff, and it's like, bro, like no, you're not.
It's so
like,
over the top that it circles back to being funny.
Dude, I'll be honest with you, it's a joke and stuff like that, but it's kind of crazy how much he looks like Eddie.
He really does, with the mullet and just, he does.
Picture fucking perfect. Oh my God, he looks just like him. But yeah, so I guess those are thoughts on the Judgment Day. And then we get Finn, Rhea versus Edge, Beth. I'm fine with that because, again, Finn and Rhea.
Is that what's going to happen? Or
Elimination Chamber. It's the tag
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that'll just kind of be like mixed tag team, and then I'm sure Edge Finn will have a match at WrestleMania to finally end. It's like fucking,
and like just seeing like the Judgment Day now is just like a gang of bullies. Where like months ago it was like, oh, a spooky, mystical. You know what I mean?
So it's actually crazy to believe that this storyline's been going on for almost a year now, as far as like Edge getting kicked out.
Right.
Because at WrestleMania, that's when Damian Priest joined Judgment Day, and that kind of got that stuff going. Edge, the rumor was when Edge left Judgment Day, he got kicked out, was because they were going down that spooky, like magical type of stuff, and Edge is like, no, fuck that. And it's like, I still don't know what the point of the Judgment Day is. Like, what are they trying to accomplish?
I think at this
point,
point,
are they just meant to be bullies? Like, is that what it is?
I think at this point they're just the heel, the mid card heel that you got to put up, because they're in like so much stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, which is like, I'm happy that Finn's getting, you know, television time. Dominic's getting time to, you know, improve his character and in ring skill and stuff. But like, I just don't know.
I hope Finn. I think everyone else in the Judgment Day is like, okay, that makes sense for Judgment Day. I think if it's holding back anyone, it's Finn.
Yeah,
like 100%. So much.
I think it's holding back. I think you can make an argument. Rhea's killing it, but I think you can make an argument that's holding Rhea back. I think she's too good.
I think it just matches her aesthetic.
I think that's, yeah, so it's I guess. But
and she also like half the time she doesn't even come out.
She doesn't need the Judgment Day.
She doesn't need them.
She doesn't need. They need her. She doesn't need them. It's more of that situation. But yeah, I hope that they have a blow off match at Mania and just end this, because all Edge has been doing this last year when he's not just sitting on his couch for 2-3 months is fighting the Judgment Day, and it's just it's boring.
I would boring. If he can still go in the ring. I don't want to see his last like
stop
veteran
fighting
years.
The same 3 guys.
Yeah,
like go out and have matches, have great matches with other people. Like it doesn't. Your world doesn't revolve around the Judgment Day. We can get past that.
We kind of already mentioned the Brock and Lashley thing. It's just, you know, just some big boys being big.
Yeah, just some big boys being big. I do we've talked about Brock Lesnar before. I love his character, the Cowboy.
Oh, Cowboy Brock is the best. I get
we're going
Brock
in circles with him and Bobby and stuff, but like I love when Brock Lesnar talks.
Yeah,
when he has a free mic, bro, just a hot mic out there. He go talking about thinking about Bobby. He's like, I go ice fishing and I think about Bobby. He goes, I eat dinner and I think about Bobby. And then he stops and he's like starts laughing. He goes, I'm in bed with my wife. And about 4 to 5 hours later, I'm thinking about Bobby.
About 4 to 5. He's like,
he starts laughing.
Like, about 4 to 5 hours later, I'm back thinking about Bobby Lashley. About 4 to 5 hours later.
Oh, I love him. I absolutely love it. Yeah. But it's just going in circles.
Yeah, it's just a fun, kind of nothing thing.
I remember when this Bobby Lashley Brock Lesnar was like, because even like when Bobby was pre WWE, like before he came back, it was always like he wanted a piece of Brock Lesnar. Like it was always that 2 WWE guys went to MMA. Like they have similar backgrounds and stuff like that. That was always a match Bobby wanted. Came to WWE. They never, met up. They never that. It just never happened.
Right.
And then we eventually got it when it was Brock Bobby WWE Championship last year. And it went from being a feud that everyone wanted to a feud where it's like, how many more fucking times are these guys gonna fight? Like if you have I would have been fine with 3 matches. Like Brock wins one, Bobby wins one. You get the big blow up match. Yeah, and even Royal Rumble, you have that little interaction there. That's fine. That's a quick little thing. I don't know. Like I think because they're doing a contract signing for the match on Raw, I'm thinking that there's going to be something that happens either on Raw or at the Elimination Chamber where either the match doesn't happen or like it ends in a no contest. Because I can't imagine them not having a WrestleMania match. That's gotta be the big event that they have last match.
I think at this point is they know that, oh shit, we have Brock for Mania. Oh, we didn't have anything for him. Let's give him Bobby.
Sure.
And then just to get him, which, hey, I'm all for seeing Brock on the card.
Listen, if they are doing this match here, let's say this is their blow-up match. Let's say this is like the final match.
Wait, are they fighting at Elimination Chamber?
That's what it is.
Oh, it's a contract for the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like if you want to build this event up as like, a big pay-per-view going to WrestleMania, that adds to it. But I think that match should be saved for Mania.
Right, because then what's the Brock Mania match?
It's going to be what? Brock Lesnar, Brock Lashley 6? Or, what I mean?
If they do it, they got to add some sort of like last man standing or some sort of stipulation or something.
Yeah, kind of like what Roman and Brock. Everyone was sick of the same thing. They had the last man standing, and it was great. So yeah, I hope they, I don't know. If they are gonna have this match in Elimination Chamber and they leave the door open for another Brock match, fuck, it better be Gunther versus Brock. Like if they're leaving that door open,
yeah,
I need that match. I fucking need that match. I don't think it's gonna happen, but if he doesn't face Bobby at Mania, I don't know who he's gonna face.
I wonder what's Gunther gonna do at Mania, because they have the Elimination Chamber for the U.S. title. There's no real Gunther feud
I've
right
always
now.
thought that they were going to do Gunther. They were going to revisit Gunther Sheamus, because Sheamus is
they
right,
should do
because
that.
it's the whole Sheamus has never won the Intercontinental belt. Winning at WrestleMania obviously would be a big moment for him and stuff. That's what I've always imagined, but I haven't really sensed that they've planted seeds for that stuff yet. I mean, they had like Royal Rumble; they were going at it all match. So I mean, I guess that
What would be great? Oh, here's what they should do: triple threat. Gunther, Drew, Sheamus. Gets all three of them on the card.
Some three big boys.
Just giant.
Three bodies.
I think that's exactly what they should do.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And then because Sheamus and Drew are like, they're already kind of split up as a team,
right.
But it adds a little more of like, we were friends,
because
right?
you can protect Gunther in that. Because let's say Sheamus does win the match, Gunther doesn't have to take the pin.
Sure.
He can still make him look strong.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I'm down with that. That would be a really good match.
I think that'd be
sick.
sick. With you. Kind of just to run through the rest of Raw before we get into AEW and we'll wrap up here. I don't want to talk about this match, but I'm happy Carmella's back. I'm a Carmella fan. I think she's underrated in the ring.
I agree.
She beat Piper Niven, Candice LeRae, and Mia Yim to advance in the Elimination Chamber. Great.
Carmella's just a good character. She's a good
especially
character
now that she's
around.
back to this like Staten Island, like I forget what she was before. It was like the same but different. Like Mela is Money she was doing, and then, but just I'm the queen. I think Queen of Staten Island type. Like it works for her.
I like it.
Montez Ford defeats Elias, goes to Elimination Chamber. Absolutely, Dawkins should be in there with them. But what are you gonna do?
I think that this is the first. I think WWE is giving us our first taste of a singles.
That's what it seems like. Yeah.
Because
I would have loved to see a Dawkins versus Montez, just like
they go
head to
at
head,
it
just a
in there.
little bit, just a little taste, you know.
agree.
But
maybe that seeds planted where it's like Montez Ford's going on a run, Angelo Dawkins can't get things going, and that leads to someone turning on someone. Maybe I don't know.
I hope they do something like that. I don't see them giving Dawkins and Montez Ford any time. I don't see them giving them a feud.
Oh, yeah.
I see them just Montez either turn or someone turns or they split up and then Montez is done with them.
I think it'll be like a New Day thing where if they bring the draft back, which I fucking hope they do, that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, honestly. For some reason, it would be a Dawkins versus Montez feud would be so sick. For whatever reason, I just don't see them.
But like,
doing
if you
it.
want to like protect that team, where it's kind of like the New Day is never going to split up. Like I think that's kind of foregone. That's not going to happen. Keep them split them up. So it's like, they're obviously still brothers. They're still best friends. So one day when they're back on the same roster, they can be a tag team again. There's no hard feelings. Very happy Montez Ford won.
We are finally on to AEW. I think a note before we get into AEW, something that I've put in here I want to talk about for, I want to say, the better part of 2 to 3 years. I don't want to speak for the both of us, but I've been... AEW is must-watch TV, especially over WWE. Point I'm trying to make is over the past, let's play it safe and say 4 to 6 months. Probably leaning closer to 4. WWE has absolutely back to outperforming AEW. Maybe not necessarily, definitely not necessarily week to week in ring quality.
Yeah.
But just in terms of WWE making themselves must watch TV again, and it's all to do with the Bloodline storyline. Yeah. It's all to do with that. Yeah. But WWE's got it back. I think AEW had it for about 2 or 3 years. It's back on WWE. Yeah. I think, and a lot of people, I hate comparing them to. I think it's so much. The AEW versus WWE, I think is so much fun. It's fun, and it's not. It's not like a real thing. So it's fun to as a fan being like, whoa, now WWE is beating them. I think WWE's got it right now. WWE's got it over AEW.
Yeah. You said like over the last 4 months, to be safe, 4 months. I don't think it's a coincidence that WWE started to become watchable again or become interesting since Triple H took over. Like, I don't want to give him all the credit because the Bloodline story is 1,000% the bulk of the reason why the product has been so good.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's obvious. Since Triple H took over, the mid-card titles have a meaning to it. Triple H is actually making good use of wrestlers on the roster and not have to worry about bringing back guys like The Rock and Stone Cold to main event matches. He's working with what he has. He's doing a great job. I think Clash at the Castle was in September. I think that event, that was in September, so that was 5 months ago.
Okay, all right.
I think that was like the event where I was like, okay, I think they're back to being like the top dog, you know? Because I think for a while, like, AEW was so hot, so fresh, and
especially with like Punk coming in too, and everyone wanted to see that.
Everyone, it was so talked about, and I think AEW just had that. You know, when a company starts up, something that's fresh, people are attracted to that. People want to watch it. People are locked into it. And then time goes on where it's like, okay, now the honeymoon phase is kind of over. Now it's like, okay, now they have to really deliver. Now it's like, all right, you got us here. Now how are you going to keep us around? WWE has been a juggernaut for so long that no matter what they do, even if Vince McMahon was still in charge, you're still going to have your 2 million viewers a week. You're still going to be selling out this and that, right? But and I'm sure you've seen these things too, you see the numbers from arena sales, pay-per-view buys, house shows even. The house shows have been sellouts over the last few months. Cody Rhodes being I think Cody Rhodes is a big reason for that too.
Remember last year there'd be like pictures going around on Twitter where like SmackDown would only sell half the arena.
Haven't seen any of that. Yeah. So, and it's like the Royal Rumble, or the Raw's 30, like highest, gate sales. Like you're seeing those numbers for everything. WrestleMania already sold out. Social media views, this and that. It's not a coincidence that all that stuff started to pick up after Triple H took over. Yeah. And again, Bloodline deserves all the credit in the world. And I'm not saying Triple H definitely has his hands in it, but like that's all credit to them. I think AEW is at a point right now where, and I'm not saying AEW is not in a good place right now. I think their product is fine. I do think that they're doing some things very well. Some things,
again, just looking at in ring, I think TV in ring matches, AEW still blows WWE out of the water. But that can only get you so far.
There was a quote. I don't know if you saw this. Bryan Danielson, he was doing a podcast. I don't know what it was, but he said, Vince McMahon asked him when he was still in WWE, why do people like AEW more? Like, what's the thing? So Daniel Bryan said he watched AEW for the next few weeks and like took notes and like, why is this? AEW is focused on the wrestling part of things. Like, that's what AEW is. Like, you have your storylines, all that stuff that go into it, but pure wrestling is what draws people in. People are drawn to WWE because of the storytelling. There's wrestling there, but that's not the main focus. The storytelling is the main focus. You watch an episode of Raw 3 hours. How much of that time is to backstage segments, guys in the ring talking, building up storylines? Maybe upwards of an hour, right? I think considering all things, like in 3 hours, I think an hour is a fair time to give that. AEW, if it's a 2-hour show, you're probably watching an hour, 45 minutes of just wrestling. Yeah. So that's the big difference there. Wrestling and AEW.
Which I don't think is a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing.
It makes them different.
Right.
AEW has always been better at having the pure wrestlers and stuff like that, and that's what they're better at. But from the storyline standpoint and the guys delivering in the ring, because now with Triple H in charge, wrestling is getting more of a focus.
100%.
It's like still not at AEW's level, but it's getting more of a focus.
It's somewhere in here, but like, what match was it? It was Alpha Academy versus Cedric and Shelton. And that was like, I was like watching that, and that was like a good match. Yeah. They put on a really good match. And normally that'd just be like a boring, half-assed TV match.
If Vince McMahon was in charge, that match would have been over in 3 minutes.
Right. But at least like that, like, I was like, oh, like these guys actually put on something worth watching when like normally they wouldn't have to.
And all those guys, the thing, WWE has really good wrestlers. You can argue that they have just as many good wrestlers on their roster as AEW. It's about how they're presented. Otis. Chad Gable is
one of the best.
He should be I hope he gets like a United States Championship run. He's so good. Yeah. Shelton, we all know how good Shelton is. Cedric Alexander too. He's good. Great as well. Yeah. Like those guys can put on a great 10-minute match on a filler episode of Monday Night Raw. They never would have gotten that opportunity under Vince McMahon. With Triple H in charge, he's given it more of that wrestling focus. Not on the same level as AEW, but they're getting better at it. And again, like the last few months, we're not. I think a lot of people would think that we were like WWE haters for how highly we were talking about AEW for a while.
Because it was
better.
Better.
It was better.
You know?
We say how it is.
They had for a while AEW because you were saying WWE is more focused on the storylines. They had better storylines. AEW has better wrestling. But for a while, AEW had better of both. Especially
with CM Punk, I think brought that in.
I think now that we're like a few months removed, we kind of look back on it. The CM Punk situation hurt them.
Yeah,
so much.
You're probably, if you ask like Tony Khan, all these guys, ask them that same question and be like, no, like we picked it back up, like we're good, bro. It hurts losing CM Punk.
It really did.
It hurts, yeah.
And I think even like I was thinking about this the other day, and I know MJF had a promo about it and about like, oh, once I'm the champion, you guys I think we're boring. The most exciting part of MJF was his chase for the championship. I think he's a good champion. It's just, and again, I think it's just missing that intense Punk level feud or that intense level like John Moxley feud or something like that. Which I it seems like storytelling wise they're on a lull, but I think like to defend them during that like time span where we were way more pro AEW than WWE. It's because AEW had it stories and wrestling had it fucking locked. And it seems like, which is like we were talking about earlier with the Bloodline story. The Bloodline story is going to come to a peak and eventually they're going to be in a low.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And then maybe AEW climbs back. So it's always going to ebb and flow. And it feels like we're in the dip of AEW.
And let's be real too. It's hard for AEW to put on, like we were saying with WWE, it's like it's hard to top this storyline. What the fuck is AEW going to put out there that's better than the Bloodline storyline?
They would need Punk back. I think they would need Punk back.
I think Punk Omega. Punk versus Omega would be the only way they can combat
it. Really would.
And we don't God knows if that ever happens. So to defend AEW a little bit, it's hard to put something on TV that's more interesting than what WWE is putting on TV right now. Because the Bloodline story is just, it's 2.5, 3 years in the making. It's hard to top that right now. It's impossible to top that right now, I'd say. So I think AEW is going to get back on track of it. They have so much talent. They got guys there that can, can put the shit back on track, right? But they're in a lull right now. And I'm hoping, to bring up MJF, I hope that his match with Bryan Danielson, which they're building up to the Iron Man
I think
match,
it'll be great.
I think that's going to be the turning point for his reign. I think he needs, because
MJF needs that win.
I didn't watch the match fully last night, but I watched some highlights. He looked fucking good in the ring last night. MJF.
Oh yeah,
he looked good.
Oh yeah,
like he looked good. Like he looked ripped. Like he looked great, and he was
see that fucking backflip off the yeah. He looks great.
So I think hopefully they keep prepping him, like giving him more act, like the guy he faced last night, like pure wrestling. Like,
say it. What's his name? Go ahead.
I didn't want to say it.
I know you went the guy.
Takeshita.
It's hard. It doesn't look.
I
like
always
that.
let you say it when we do the podcast. Takeshita. I hope to see him kind of like what he's doing with Bryan Danielson, where he's having him go up against guys. I want MJF to go up against like legit wrestlers, whether it's in AEW, other companies. Build him up like that. Like, oh, this guy can actually wrestle. Iron Man match, kills it. Boom, we're back in business.
Yeah, no, I agree. With that said, AEW last night, we kind of just talked about MJF. Oh, did you see MJF's promo?
I watched the video on Twitter, the backstage one.
Yeah,
talking about Liv.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean,
he like just because we're on the topic of MJF. I mean, like, it's one of his only promos where I was like,
I didn't really. I understood the connection, I guess, but like I don't think they had say that.
It felt weird. I was
it did feel weird.
It was to fill everyone in. I'm sure everyone's seen it, but it was like he was talking about how he mentioned his blue Camaro a bunch, talking about how he was like a douchebag in high school. Which again, like the whole story was to play up. The crux of the story was that he's a scumbag and will do whatever. But and he's like, oh, I went to prom and this, that, and the other, and then what's going on? Went to prom and then the hot girl at prom and he's like, and we're driving and he mimics a blowjob. So he's talking about getting road dome and then they fucking crash the car And then
to a telephone pole. It goes into detail about
this. Like Jesus Christ, it was dark. which I like when his promos are dark and real, but it was like it felt unnecessarily dark.
You could have said another story to make you look like a scumbag. Everyone knows you're a scumbag.
And then the girl they both survived the crash, and then the police were coming, and he swapped seats because he was gonna lose his license or whatever. And it was like I get what you're trying to tell. It felt weirdly out of place.
Again, I get what he was trying to say.
The delivery and everything, great, but
I think there could have been another way. It was telling it. I don't know. What does that have to do with wrestling? You know what I mean?
Even if it was told in that story, it worked in maybe a different context or somehow related differently. I don't know. It felt weirdly out of place.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he told the story well.
His delivery and everything is always on top, but it's just I was like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well,
what about you getting road dome and a fucking Camaro? What are you talking about?
Road dome and you crash your car because of it. That's all I took from it. I don't know.
What else do we have? Yeah, and at the end of the match, let's see, MJF busts open Takeshita. Danielson makes a save, blah, blah. Match I had the biggest problem with. Jamie Hayter squashes the bunny.
I saw you tweeting about this last night. I didn't watch the match or anything.
I don't have much to say. I think the bunny, is arguably one of the most talented women on the roster. I think no reason for this not to have been just a good match. Instead, Jamie Hayter gets the squash over the bunny.
Yeah, I feel like she's been on AEW. I feel like since the beginning.
Yeah,
I've always seen her. She had a match against. It was her and someone else. I think it was. It was her and maybe it was Penelope Ford against Anna Jay and Ty Mello. And I remember she got busted open. She was bleeding.
Yes,
it was a picture.
I remember the match. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, so she can go.
The bunny's great. The bunny is fucking great, and it was just a weird Again, I get it. She's the champion, blah, blah, but it was a weird squash championship match, and it didn't do anything for the bunny. It didn't do anything for the Butcher and the Blade, which I think are criminally underrated.
It's a cool gimmick. It's a really cool gimmick.
I think they're great, and
they've also, all those guys have been around since the beginning. I feel like they've done nothing with them, giving them a good direction.
What else? Ricky Starks in this. I hate to. I mean, I feel like I sound like I'm just breathing. Ricky Starks did this. It was a solid episode of AEW. It wasn't the greatest, nothing crazy, and we're also running at an hour 8 here, so mostly just kind of recap the stuff and get through it. But so I don't mean to sound unenthused, but Ricky Starks, they did some. I think it was the Garcia Guevara gauntlet. Basically, is facing all members of the Jericho Appreciation Society. It ends with Jericho from being masked in the crowd, who wearing a Scissor Me Daddy shirt, attacks Ricky. Long story short, Daniel Garcia gets the pin. Blah blah blah. Just Jericho and his crew looking dominant over Ricky.
Yeah. I mean, so last night the Boston Celtics were on, and that's where most of my attention was. But me and Kevin will watch it, and when it was halftime, we were just looking for something to watch, and I was on my phone. He goes, "All right, here you go," and he puts on AEW Dynamite. So that was the match that was on. So I'm trying to explain to Kevin what's going on, and then he gets hit right in the crowd, and I'm I have a feeling that's Chris Jericho, and he goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah," and he takes off the mask. He goes, "Oh, it is Chris Jericho." I go, "Yeah, I had a feeling." I
was hoping. I was tweeting. I was like, "If Ricky wins this, I'm buying that shirt."
Because then they were
I gotta buy that shirt. I gotta buy that shirt.
If Ricky wins, he'll fight Jericho, and I'm like, "Oh, I thought they'd save that match for." I was like, "Okay, they'll do that." It was what it was. You mentioned. I want to say this really quick. AEW has episodes where it's better than pay-per-views, but they also have episodes where it's just it's a normal episode. But I think because they have those episodes that are so good, it makes these ones feel boring and stuff.
Right.
It's a good show.
It was fantastic wrestling from top to bottom on the show. So it's
you had great matches. The MJF match was great. The Elite.
Oh, Roosh and Danielson
had a great back. They're good matches, but it's hard when you have those shows that are just so fucking good, and then you have a show like this, which again is fine, but doesn't live up to that. So it kind of makes it seem like it's not as memorable or that good.
I'd like to give flowers to Bryan Danielson after his last match, and I say it every time he gets brought up. I'm fully aware that he's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, but if I like to put myself in just a fan and who to root for, and just I don't know, I don't care about rooting for him. But again, I say that because I like being a fan. You know, I don't always like, oh, I like him because he's technically good in the ring.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? That gets boring. Then you're gonna like everyone. It's boring to like everyone. I don't want to like everyone.
You don't have to like everyone.
But holy shit, did he put on a banger with Roosh?
He loves bleeding too.
Oh my god! And like, he cut himself a little too deep because he's some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. I don't know if you've seen highlights, but like, he'll get knocked to the outside near a camera, and his blood will splatter on the camera. Like, there were, I think, let's say there were 4 or 5 cameras. 4 out of 5 cameras had his blood splattered on it. It was fucking crazy. It was insane. So, like, while they're filming the match, there's fucking blood on the camera.
No, I didn't see that.
It was a little much on the stomach sometimes, but, like, holy shit. So, incredible match. I think Roosh is unbelievably talented, but also boring. I'm not a Roosh guy.
You know, I saw on Andrade was trending on Twitter last night.
I saw that.
Because Roosh is in AEW because of Andrade. Like, he brought him in. They were doing a whole tag thing, so everyone's just like, wow. Roosh is just basically doing what Andrade was supposed to be in AEW.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Andrade.
I know. He's so good.
He's so good.
He just can't find his placement
hope he
anywhere.
Comes back to WWE because he left because of the whole Vince McMahon. Like, if Triple H is in charge now,
I think at
he's
this
in
point,
much better hands.
He's just good. But he's just unfortunately lost in the shuffle.
And
in
there
AEW.
was a whole thing with him and Sammy Guevara. I think that's
some backstage stuff.
So he's not around. Like, let the guy go. Come back to WWE.
MJF comes out and attacks Danielson. Basically just, classic. Oh, after your match, and the heel comes out and,
I'm looking at your notes.
Shit.
Backstage promo about the Blue Camaro prom date road dome.
MJF backstage promo about the Blue Camaro prom date road dome.
Emphasizing he'll do whatever because he's a scumbag. That's awesome.
And also, like this match was just thrown in the middle here. The Elite versus Top Flight and Era Fox for the trios titles. I mean, again, it's maybe we're just spoiled by the bloodline stuff, but not a lot stuff to talk about in terms of story. In ring, phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Bucks and Kenny, and Top Flight is amazing. Air Fox shows up every single time. Good match, good defense.
AEW doesn't build the stories going into the match. That's why I think it's not as good, because you have the random title matches, the what do they call them? Title elimination.
Oh, the eliminator matches,
match.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, bro. If you're gonna have a title match, make it mean something. I know the Bucks lost to Top Flight and stuff like that, so I guess that's
or the Acclaimed.
Didn't
you said the Bucks?
Did I say no? Didn't they beat the Bucks? Like
last night.
Or no, like last week. Who beat the Bucks a few weeks ago?
Was that
Top Flight?
Or
was it not?
I think it was
Flight?
Top. It might have been Top Flight.
So,
I thought you were talking about something different. I think it was Top Flight.
So like, granted, so like that, I guess that set up this match. But it's like the TNT belts, the Bunny versus Jamie Hayter. Like, where's the bill? Like, there's no story behind. Like, the wrestling's good, but why do I care about it?
I liked the Death Triangle and Elite story. There was something there with at least like the hammer telling. But like also they haven't gone back to that at all. Where's Death Triangle been?
Exactly.
What's the deal with the hammer? Is 100%. Ray Phoenix okay?
They knew a better job at roping me in with the storylines. Because although I am more of the guy that likes the wrestling part, you do need some story in there. You need to give it some substance, you know what I mean? It needs to be something.
Lastly, the Guns defeated the Acclaimed to become the new AEW Tag Team Champions.
I mean, it definitely changes. It definitely changes some things. Definitely shakes some things up. That's for sure.
I don't like it.
No, I don't either.
And a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, it's fine because FTR is obviously coming back and going to beat them, and then it wouldn't make sense the Acclaim versus FTR." First of all, that's stupid. The Acclaimed and FTR would work. It's not like they've what you can't do face versus face all of a sudden. FTR can't become heels. What the fuck are you talking about?
AEW, I feel like there's the lines of being a heel and a face are so blurred.
Yeah,
like
the Guns didn't need to win this for any. Even if they are, I mean, it's also people are talking like there's confirmation of FTR coming back. I hope they come back, but there's no confirmation. People are. That's my favorite thing on Twitter when like something happens and they're like, well, you do know that this means the FTR is coming back. It's like, what are you, a fucking writer for the show? What are you talking about?
WWE the last few months was all like, this is happening because The Rock coming back, and it's like The Rock never came back. Yeah, it's just like you can't just assume something's gonna happen because
it's annoying.
I mean, I do think that the Acclaimed kind of like hit a lull where it's like, they won the belts, it was great, and they kind of like,
I think they were still
but they're still rolling because
Yeah.
they're so good with their promos and stuff like that. Like they still had something, and Billy Gunn's been phenomenal as well. They didn't have to lose the belts. I feel like, especially on the first try, like I think the Guns, like with more time, you can build them up to be like a good
the Acclaim has spent weeks making the Guns look foolish and stupid.
Yeah,
you know
and it's like, and also for it to just, I understand like you hit him with the belt, it was like a cheap finish and stuff, but like I would have imagined if the Guns beat the Acclaimed, I would have thought, oh, probably because Billy Gunn turned on the Acclaim to go with the Sons.
I would have thought there'd be something
if you told me,
if
we went into this today, I didn't know what happened, didn't go on social media, you said, hey, the Guns beat the Acclaim, I'd be like, oh, Billy Gunn probably.
Right, 100%.
No, he had nothing to do with it. So I'm listen, if AEW wants to protect the Acclaim, it's like, hey, we'd rather you lose it to them than FTR.
Sure.
Whatever, but you don't have to do that. They can lose to FTR.
It definitely screams transition champions.
It's 100%. Why can't you do like an Acclaim versus FTR where it's like you do like a tournament thing? Why can't you do like a best of 7? Like that would be sick. That looks great for the Acclaimed.
The Acclaimed is super over. FTR coming back. Make FTR the heels.
Yeah, they can be heels. They don't have to be good guys.
Yeah.
I know he did the whole thing with his daughter and all that stuff. Like feel a good moment.
Make the Acclaimed heels.
Make the Acclaimed.
They started as heels.
Max is great on the mic. Let him start shit talking again.
Right.
You know
100%.
what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that decision. Maybe it's a quick thing where Acclaim gets a rematch. They win him back. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, okay, this is like, it seems like it happened for a reason in terms like, okay, they're going to put the belts on someone else, or this is going to happen, or it's going to happen.
I'm all for shocking moments. I'm all for like things you weren't expecting, but like make it make sense at least.
That's the only credit I give is like, I'm all for stuff happening. Like, oh shit, I didn't expect the Guns to, whatever. I don't think it should have closed the show. Crazy to close the show. Elite, it should have been, it should have been, if anyone's going to close the show, I mean, either have the MJF, which I know like it played out, whatever, have MJF and Takeshita close the show, or have the trios titles close the show. Something, I don't know. It felt weird. That's how they close the show. And like, obviously they have Rampage after, so like the arena gets more wrestling, but like, it felt like a weird, just like, and not that every show needs to end on a happy moment, but at least if like, I don't know, like, back in the day where JBL ends the show by clothesline and Rey Mysterio, you're like, oh, fuck, that's crazy. I can't believe that happened. That stinks, but I can't wait till the next episode. This was just like, took the air right out of the sails. There was no like, there was nothing to it.
I just hope that this doesn't lead to like the Acclaim going in a lull. We've been using that word a lot this episode. I just don't want this to be like, okay, Acclaim loses the belts. Now they're just going to go back to being another tag team. They're too good for that. So I hope that WWE keeps I hope AEW keeps them like relevant. And
also, FTR might go to WWE. Speaking of WWE,
that's what I'm saying. So
it's like, who knows?
There's I don't agree into rumors and stuff. FTR, they're Triple H guys. When they were in NXT, they were arguably the best tag team in WWE. Period. Not just NXT. Plus, WWE. Period.
We like. FTR versus the Usos, which I mean, the Jay and Jimmy story, I don't know what's happening with that, but like FTR versus the Usos.
And can I tell you something?
Tell me something.
We were robbed of this trio team. They didn't last long. I want FTR and Randy Orton to have a fucking proper run. FTRKO, the name alone deserved more than 3 weeks.
Know.
Like FTR can do so much more in WWE now that Triple H is in charge. They'd get treated like fucking stars, because again, those are Triple H's guys, and Triple H takes care of his boys.
They would, I mean, not the Usos are doing great with the titles, but also at the end of the day, they just have them for the sake of having them. They don't really, like, obviously they're defending them on SmackDown, but it's like they don't really have
the
like,
last year they've kind of been like special events and stuff. They wouldn't defend them on.
There's never
shows.
Been there hasn't been an exciting tag team championship match in a while. Since I would probably argue Street Profits, Usos, New Day Usos. Sure. You know what I mean?
It's not like, that one tag team that like, because you have that those periods where you have the two best tag teams going at it, where it's like, okay, we've seen Usos, Street Profits, we've seen Usos, New Day. It's like we need that new team now, and like FTR would
be such a
man.
Good refresh.
They can go against.
You know what needs to? You know when exactly they need to show up? Monday after Mania. That'd be perfect. Monday after Mania, FTR shows up.
I would love that. I would want nothing more than that. We'll see. FTR is going to be tag team. FTR returns, whether it's AEW, WWE, they're going to be tag team champions soon. It seems
for sure.
Like, so,
well, I think that wraps up.
That's
episode
a podcast.
13 of the SCW podcast.
Lucky
Everyone,
number 13.
thank you for watching. If you haven't already, what are you doing? Subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications, all of that. Consider becoming a member so you can have all these cool emojis in the live chat and you get a cool badge next to your name. You can follow me on all socials. That includes Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, maybe Twitch. I've been thinking about it. At Raspy Taylor. I don't know.
Hey, why not? That could be fun. Oh, Triple H. You can follow me on Twitter at Dante and Deck or Dante Toro /Dante Toro 11 everywhere else. And John, you guys know you can follow us, Stache Club W, on Twitter and Instagram as well. We're also on TikTok, so check us out on those platforms. Just kind of, letting you know when videos are coming out, tweeting, just giving our thoughts with what's going on with the product and all that. So check us out there.
There was one guy on our TikTok, he commented, because obviously we post two. We'll post some clips from the quiz. It'll just be 2 questions of the 15 or whatever. Some guy commented, make the videos longer. And I was like, I got good news for you. There's a way longer video on YouTube. And he's like, no, but I want him on TikTok. It's like, brother, I don't know.
We can't put 15-minute episodes on TikTok.
Bring, you can bring the horse to the fucking well, but you can't, holy shit, Jesus Christ.
Listen, you can get best of both worlds. You can watch the shortened edition on TikTok, the long edition on YouTube. We can't put 15-minute videos on TikTok, unfortunately. But we appreciate your support no matter what.
Let's get one for the road and get out of here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for helping us make it this far. We'll see you episode 14. Peace.